In this video, you're going to learn how to do the complete first workout for your pancake routine. So make sure that you stick around right until the end because I'm going to be explaining how you do all of the exercises in this sequence to you in great detail. Now, there is no follow along video for this mobility masterclass video series, and the reason why that is because it's really done in your own time. The speed that you get all of the sets done and the amount of rest that you take depends on you. I'm going to talk you through that through this whole video, but make sure you watch right through to the end because you're going to learn a kick-ass routine, and I guarantee you that if you do this and periodize it with the second pancake video, mobility video here, that you are going to achieve your pancake eventually. How long? Could take you 3 months, could take you 6 months, could take you 1 or 2 years. It depends on how flexible you are now and on how hard you work at it. So let's get into it.
We are the gym that teaches people how to move instead of just exercise because we believe that health is about performance, not just body image.
The first exercise we're going to do is called the ostrich walk. Now for the ostrich walk, this is really a warm-up for the hamstrings. We want to have one foot just in front of the other, so the heel will be roughly in line with the toes, both legs completely straight. And I'm just going to drop down like this. Okay, I'm completely cold now, so you're going to watch how much I warm up just over the next minute or so. And then we're going to step forward and do it again. So I'm not actually coming up all the way. Take note, my legs are completely straight, my weight is over the front leg, and it's not about touching the ground, it's about just going down as far as you can go. So you'll see as I warm up I'll go from having my fingers on the ground to my palms flat on the ground. The ostrich walk for between 2 and 6 minutes. It's a pretty big time window there, and the reason why is it just depends on how cold you are. So in summer in Sydney in Australia, I can do this for 2 minutes and get pretty warm, but in winter I'll be doing it for more like 3, 4, even 5 minutes. So it just depends on where you are in the world and also on how cold your body feels. You want to do it until you feel that you've warmed up. You could see those first couple of reps I did, my fingers were only just touching the ground, but as soon as I'd warmed up I was getting my palms right down and it was feeling good. The next one that we're going to do is test the water, and for test the water we have an area that we do it in that's about 20 meters long, and I recommend doing between 2 and 6 laps of that length of space. So for a beginner you really want to try and do a full lap without coming up. And as you start getting more advanced, you want to start doing 2 or even 3 or 4 laps without coming up at all. So you get to the end and then you just go back in the other direction without standing up at all. The more pain and discomfort you can stand in your legs, the better the results are going to be for this. So you want to do between 2 and 6 laps of test the water, and this is how you do it. So I'm just moving through this, test the water, Cossack squat. The next one we're going to do is called a dumbbell eccentric Romanian deadlift. So it is really just a Romanian deadlift, but the reason why I'm calling it an eccentric Romanian deadlift is because we're focusing on the eccentric contraction. That means when you're going with gravity, when you're on your way down. Now, this is loaded mobility, so eccentric contractions are proven to dramatically improve your mobility because it not only lengthens the muscle fibers but it also thickens them. So whilst you're getting flexible, you're also getting stronger, reduces risk of injury, has a massive carryover to your flexibility. It's absolutely unreal. The thing with this is you want to keep your back completely straight, so much so that you even hyperextend. So you want to go into this hyperextended back position as you go down, so that you're really focusing on hip flexion, which means that you're bending from the hips not spine flexion, which means you're bending from the spine. So you want to film yourself when you do this. Make sure that you're not, when you go down, that you're not rounding your back, okay? That's a completely different exercise. And we're going to do 3 sets of 10, sorry, actually, we're not going to do 3 sets. We're going to do 3 sets of a circuit. So I'm going to explain to you a couple of exercises, and then I'll tell you how many sets you do and how you put them all together. So this is the first exercise that we're doing, the dumbbell eccentric Romanian deadlift. I've got 15 kilo dumbbells here. The amount that you use is going to be completely up to your own strength and your own body weight. I'd say for women between 40 and 70 kilos, if you haven't done much weightlifting before, I would be starting on roughly a 5 to 10 kilo dumbbell in each hand. For guys between 60 and 80 kilos or 85, you'd maybe be starting on 10 to 15 kilos in each hand, and then figure it out from there. When I do this myself, I go somewhere between 20 and 30 kilos in each hand, but I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm only filming a video here, so I don't need to do a lot of weight to demonstrate. So from here, what I'm going to do is retract my scapula. That helps me get that arch in the spine, and then I'm going to lower down slowly and go as far as my hamstrings allow me, and then back up, and then down again, pulling my shoulders back all the way, and then back up. You can see with my flexibility, I can actually go lower than the floor. So when I do this, if I actually do it myself, I stand on the podium, because watch this, I get to a point where the weight hits the floor and I've still got more flexibility in my back. So you can do it like this if you've got, if you're as flexible as I am. But if you're as flexible as I am, you probably wouldn't be wanting to know how to get more flexible. So from here, pull your shoulders back, come down, and go like that. So when you do those, we're going to do between 5 and 10 reps. If you can get up to 10 reps, awesome, do that. If you can't, just do the best that you can do. And yeah, that's the dumbbell eccentric Romanian deadlift. The next one is called a kettlebell straddle isometric hamstring stretch. I know that's a lot of names, but all of those things represent a description of something. So a kettlebell means the apparatus, we're using an apparatus. Straddle means that we're going to be in the straddle position, so our legs are going to be like this. Isometric refers to an isometric contraction, which is when we just hold in where the muscles are contracted, but we're just holding in a still position. So this is called an isometric squat. If I sit like this, my muscles are contracting to hold me in here, but I'm not moving, so it's an isometric squat. And yeah, so kettlebell, straddle, isometric hamstring stretch. We're gonna do this one for 30 seconds, and it's pretty simple. You just hold onto the kettlebell and go down as low as you possibly can. You don't need to hold that extended position in the spine. You're just gonna fold yourself in half. When you do it, you're gonna tense your quads and suck your stomach in. When you tense your quads and suck your stomach in, your body actually tries to compress and it pulls you down even further. Let's have a look. So for this one, you're going to need to have a couple of steps set up like this, and you'll need a kettlebell. I recommend getting probably somewhere between a 16 and a 24 kilo kettlebell for most people. If you're not very strong or you've got issues with your lower back or history of back issues, you might only want to be going an 8 or a 12 kilo kettlebell. But again, in the document that you've got in the email, which has links for all of the equipment, you can buy this equipment online from Amazon. We've got the links for you, so you can just go straight to it. And otherwise, if you've got a gym where you can do it, you can use this at the gym. So what we're going to do, we're going to get up here, stand in a straddle position, so with our legs open, and then from here, we're just going to go down as low as we can and let the weight pull us down. So from here, take a look at my knees. This is incorrect. What I'm going to do is tense my quads so my knees push back and suck my stomach in. And that helps to pull me down even more. And I'm just going to hold this position for 30 seconds. So those two stretches, the dumbbell eccentric Romanian deadlift and the kettlebell straddle isometric hamstring stretch, you want to do 3 sets of those back to back, where you basically, you don't really take any prescribed rest period between it. When I'm doing it, it just depends on how energetic I'm feeling. If I'm feeling energetic and I'm really psyched for my workout, I basically take anywhere from 10 to 30 seconds rest between those, where I just do one and then I walk over slowly, grab the next one, do the next one. And then if I'm feeling lazy or I'm feeling sore and tired, maybe I'll take a minute break. But the longer you take with this, the longer it takes. And the quicker you can get these workouts done, the more you can get done in a workout. And if you start really getting hungry for this movement ability, where you want to get stronger and you want to get more mobile and learn these cool gymnastics and calisthenics skills or weightlifting or whatever your reason is for wanting to get this, you will start to realize pretty soon that it takes a lot of time in one day to try and get everything done. So if you can try and get that done back to back pretty quickly, then that's awesome. So 3 sets, or this is the clincher, until something happens. And what I mean by that is, you need to feel that your hamstrings have loosened up and you've become more flexible by the time you've done 3 sets before you move on to the next exercises. If you don't, you need to do 4 or 5 sets. So if you're in really cold weather, or you're somebody that doesn't respond well to flexibility, if your central nervous system really resists you stretching, then you need to go and do more sets of this, because there's no point in doing that for 3 sets and you still feel stiff and tight and then moving on to the next exercise, because all we're doing here is preparing ourselves for the pancake, okay? Next one we're going to do is called Cossack squats. So you want to stand roughly double shoulder width apart. Now there's a couple of different ways that you can do Cossack squats. So the way that I like the most is to go straight down with flat feet. So both feet stay flat, go as low as you can. Push that knee outward. Try and suck your knee into your chest. So watch, this is me just relaxing. Watch what happens when I suck my knee into my chest. See, it pulls me down even further, and then I can come up, go down on this side all the way, then suck my knee into my chest. Okay, back down to the other side, and we're going to go up and down for 10 reps. Okay. Now, if you don't have the mobility that I've got in your ankles, you can go down on the ball of your foot like this. Okay, so you can. It's not as good, but you can do it. And what you can also do is you can turn your foot out like that. Okay, personally, I much prefer this. I find that that has a better transfer to your mobility, but you can also do a couple of reps like this, and then a couple of reps like this. Okay, so that's the Cossack squat. If that's too hard for you, just grab onto something. Like if you just grab onto something vertical like this, and just allow it, you know, to help you balance like this as you go down, but you don't want to rely on this. That's just there for your balance, okay? So Cossack squats, we're going to do 3 sets, 10 reps on each leg. So what that means is you're going to do 10 reps on each side, then you'll stand up, walk around, move your legs a little bit, maybe for 30 to 60 seconds, and then do another set, okay? And that's warming us up for the eccentric middle splits, which we're about to do now. Now we're going to do the eccentric middle splits, and for these, I highly recommend that you get some of these gymnastics floor sliders. There's again, there's the link to where you can get them on Amazon in the email that you've got from us. And if you don't have these and you've got AstroTurf, carpet, or a wooden floor, you can use socks, but these are unbelievable. They're worth their weight in gold. And if you're looking to make some serious flexibility gains, you need the ability to slide freely without any restrictions. And when we got these at Unity Gym, there was a massive improvement on everyone's flexibility pretty quickly. So get these. So what we're going to do, put them down, put your feet on them, get yourself ready. The awesome thing about these is they even slide on rubber. Okay, and from here, what we're going to do, we're going to eccentrically work the splits. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my hips forward. I'm going like this to exaggerate to you what I'm not doing. So we're not doing this. We're going to pull the hips forward. This is called a posterior pelvic tilt. Okay, I'm going to suck my stomach in so I tense my abs. I'm going to tense my quads and tense my glutes. The feet can turn out a bit, but they're going to try and stay flat on the ground. And then from here, I'm completely cold, so these first couple of reps aren't going to be good, but I'll do a few reps so that I'll warm up a little bit. And we're going to go right down, as low as you can comfortably go, then push back up, back down, push back up. And what you do is you try to keep your hands off the bench when you're going down, so you're working on that eccentric strength. And then at the bottom, push yourself back up. Okay, again, I'm completely cold here, so when I warm up, I can go lower than this, but still you can see what we're trying to do, trying to achieve. Okay, so hips forward, suck the stomach in, tense the quads, keep your body tense. As low as you can go, get to the bottom, push yourself back up. And those are your eccentric middle splits. We're going to do 3 sets of those, 5 to 10 reps. If you can, at the end of each set, so on the last rep, do a 10-second hold where you pull your hips forward, suck your stomach in, tense your abs, tense your glutes, tense your bum. Try to tense everything in your body and hold it for 10 seconds on that last rep. And again, 3 sets of 5 to 10 reps. All right, so now we're finally ready for the pancake. Everything that we've done has warmed us up to get us ready for this, so that when we actually do the pancake, our body is warm enough to be able to go as far as it'll possibly allow. So we've warmed up the hamstrings and we've warmed up the adductors, we've warmed up the lumbar spine, the erectors, so we're ready for the pancake. We're ready to give it a go now. Now, the one I'm going to show you first, this is for absolute beginners, for people that are really, really stiff. You're going to be elevating your bum. It depends on how long your legs are and how stiff you are, but basically you elevate your bum to a height where, take a look at my legs, I'm not that wide, it's not like I'm trying to do the splits here, but what you want to do is you want to make sure that we're going to get a weight plate, and I'll talk about that in a sec, but you want to be able to get yourself down so that your back is roughly 45 degrees to the ground. Okay, straight back. Look at this. I'm not like that. That is completely wrong. You never, ever, ever do your pancake like that. You have to push your chest forward, get the weight plate flat on your back, okay, and then come forward, hopefully to at least a 45-degree angle. So for me, that's just way too easy. I don't even feel a stretch there. So we're going to get rid of this and go to the next position, which would be a slightly lower elevation. So this is really good. We've got these old yoga mats here. The good thing about these is you can put 2 of them, one on top of the other, and it's just exactly the same thing. So you can see my feet are going out to this position, maybe roughly 90 degrees, okay? And we're going to just come down until we can get to about 45 degrees. If you can go past 45 degrees, okay, that's when you know that you need to bring your bum down lower, okay? So for me, I can definitely go past 45 degrees on that. So I'm gonna get right down on the ground and do my pancake here. And we'll see how I go. I haven't done my proper warm up for this yet because I'm just explaining it for the video, but you'll definitely be able to get the idea. So, from here, again, I'm setting my feet up to 90 degrees. Now, what I'm about to explain now, this is what you do for any of the progressions that I just showed you. So you're either going to be, with your bum elevated on the highest step or the lowest step, or you're going to be flat on the ground. What tells you that you can go to the next level is you have to be able to at least lean forward with a straight back, okay? You can see that when I'm sitting up here, just sitting on the ground, I've got a straight back and I can lean forward at least a little bit. Okay, so if you can't do that, if when you sit up you're rounding and you're trying to lean forward like this, you're not ready for it and you need to go back. That is critical. You must understand where you're at in your journey with the pancake and not try and do a progression that's too hard for you. So I'm going to say it again. If you can't sit up straight and at least lean forward a little bit with that straight back, so you've got to film yourself or take a picture from side on, where your pelvis is rocking forward, then you need to elevate your bum a little bit, okay? So, whatever progression you've chosen, you either got your bum elevated a little bit or a little bit more. What you're gonna do now is, I would recommend starting with a 10 kilo weight. I've got a 15 kilo here. Start with a 10 kilo weight, and if you're a very small person or someone that's really afraid of injuring yourself, maybe do a 5 kilo plate. And we're gonna start with, this is called dorsiflexion, or pulling the toes back, I like to say. Or you can call it pointing the toes, or if you use the correct terminology, it's plantar flexion. So we're going to be pulling the toes back and pointing the toes every 3 reps. So have a look. I'm going to put the weight plate on my back. And what I'm doing here, I'm coming down as far as I can go. It's not as far as I can go, it's as far as I can go with a straight back. So I can easily get my head down to the ground when I'm cold, but I'm rounding my back, okay? So it's not about that. It's about chest forward, That's about where I am when I'm cold. So then I'm going to come back. 3 reps, now I'm going to point my toes. Tense the quads, push the knees down into the ground. 1, 2, 3. At all times I'm externally rotating the hips. Watch this. This is internally rotating the hips. Incorrect. I'm going to externally rotate the hips. At all times, push the heels down into the ground. 1, 2, 3. 1. So this is my 10th, 11th, 12th rep. And on the 12th rep, what we're going to do, you can wiggle change the angle of your toes a bit, try and get down as low as you can. Now we're going to tense the quads, watch my knees, tense the quads, push the knees down into the ground, suck the stomach in and try and compress myself down to the ground. And we're going to hold that for 30 seconds. So I'm stucking my stomach in, I've got my back flat, just come around the side so you can see the angle of my spine. My back's flat, okay, for me I can let go of the weight, put my hands out in front, compress my body, pull myself down, okay? And we do that for 30 seconds. If you can't get that low, still hold on to the weight. And that's 1 set of the pancake. So what we're going to do is do 3 sets of that. So you can take a minute break between each one. So you do 1 set. Oh no, sorry, I forgot. What we're going to do at the end of each set, so you're going to do your 12 reps of the pancake, then a 30-second hold, just like what I explained. And then you're going to do what's called straddle leg lifts for 10 reps, and then straddle extensions, well, 5 to 10 reps, okay? So from here, you've dropped the weight, take your 10-second break. Even if you're on, with your bum elevated, I recommend that you get down on the ground for this. Try and get your hands on the ground. The easiest version would be fingers on the ground here because it allows you to lean back. But the more you can lean forward and get your palms on the ground, the better it is. Now you're going to see how much this hurts for me because what I do is, it doesn't matter how good you get, you push yourself by going further and further and further. So I'm always going as far as my body allows me to make it really, really hard. So what I'm going to do, tense my quads as best as I can. I'm going to lift my chest up, push my hands down into the ground, and then I'm going to lift my legs. I'll just do 5 reps now, but you can do between 5 and 10 reps. So just watch. Okay? Then what we're going to do is, that's called straddle leg lifts. Now we're going to do straddle extensions. So now you bring your legs back. Hands should be hopefully in the same position. So again, if you're a beginner, you can have your fingers back here. A bit more advanced, get your palms down on the ground. And from here, it's the same cues. I'm trying to lift my chest up, trying to push my hands down in the ground. And now I'm going to straighten my legs, tense my quads, get my legs as high as I can get them, and then bring them back here without trying to just rest them on the ground between each set. And you can see that is a bitch of a thing to do. It's quite painful. You can see me struggling there. You always make it as hard as you can for yourself. Now when you start, if you're anything like me, when I started, I could barely get my fingers on the ground and my legs were cramping. I'd do that and could barely get my legs off the ground and I was in pain and they were cramping. And that was only a couple of years ago. So you just need to push through it, make yourself as strong as you can. Foam rolling and the active release techniques video that you've got in this video series is a really good way to help with those cramps. And what we're going to do is basically you're going to do 1 set. So this is the way that this part of the workout works. 1 set of the pancake for 12 reps where you do 3 reps toes pulled back, 3 reps toes pointed, then a 30-second hold at the end, then you drop the weight, shake your legs, rest 10 seconds, then you do 5 to 10 straddle leg lifts, shake your legs, rest 10 seconds, and then 5 to 10 straddle extensions. That's 1 set. Then you'll rest 1 to 2 minutes and then go again until you've done 3 sets. All right, so I'm just looking at the workout here just so that to give you guys a recap now. We're going to start with the ostrich walk and we're going to do between 2 to 6 minutes of the ostrich walk as a warm-up. Then we're going to move into test the water and we're going to do between 2 to 6 laps of a 20-meter lap. So if you don't have 20 meters, you've got to work it out. If you've only got 5 meters, 1 lap is worth 4 laps for you. And then we're going to move into the first circuit of the 2 hamstring exercises where we do the dumbbell eccentric remaining and deadlifts, and we're going to do 10 reps of that. And we're going to have a very short rest, hopefully no more than 30 seconds. Then we're going to move into the kettlebell isometric straddle hamstring stretch, where we're going to hold that for 30 seconds. And that 30-second time starts once you get down into the stretch. We're going to do that for 3 rounds. Up to 5 rounds though if you need it. Remember, you've got to feel something happen within the hamstrings before you move on. Then we're going to do the Cossack squats, so 3 sets of 10 reps on each side. Then we're going to move into the eccentric middle splits, where we do 3 sets of 5 to 10 reps with a 10-second hold at the end of the last set. Now the warm-up's done. That's the warm-up. Now we move into actually trying to strengthen the pancake. And what we do is we're going to do the loaded pancake with the weight plate on our back for 12 reps, then the 30-second hold. Now, the idea of this, I need to explain the principle of this. When you got your the flexibility blueprint that you would have got when you first showed interest in this whole program, one of the points in there was to stretch first and then strengthen the opposing muscle groups. And that's exactly what you're doing here, where we're not stretching, we're using loaded isometric and eccentric mobility drills, but we create mobility, we create flexibility in a muscle group, in this case the hamstrings, adductors, groin, and lumbar extensors. And then what we're doing straight after that is we're strengthening the opposing muscle group. So think of it this way. You start your workout, you can barely lean forward and touch your toes. You do all of this work, and now all of a sudden you're super flexible and you can go all the way down. So to create mobility, real mobility, which is the ability to control your strength at the end of your range of motion. So not just your ability to lean forward and touch your toes, but your ability to lean forward and then lift your legs up, as an example. So what we do in this case is we do those straddle leg lifts and then the straddle extensions. And those 2 exercises are strengthening those opposing muscle groups, teaching the central nervous system how to be able to activate muscles and control strength in that end range of motion that we've just worked towards. And that is your first pancake routine. You're going to do this for 6 weeks. And the way that you're going to do it is the first 2 weeks are what we call work weeks, and then the 3rd week is what we call a deload week. If you're combining this with strength training and you're also doing the middle splits routine and the back bridge routine or any other type of stretches or the additional stretches that we recommend, this mobility in the afternoon will take you between 1 to 2 hours. So if you add your strength training in, I guarantee you must be someone that is a serious practitioner that really wants to get better at what you're doing, and that is absolutely awesome. You are welcome to come and train with me anytime or join my inner circle. But you need to respect the amount of time that you're going to be doing here and the way that this is going to combine with your strength training. So it is important to try and get these workouts done in a timely manner and to think about how it all is going to come together. So the deload week, I'm really more referring to your weightlifting, because if you're doing strength training, so not weightlifting, strength training. So if you're doing your strength training, if you do it the way that I train, you'll do strength training in the morning and then your mobility afterwards, or maybe you're doing it all in one hit, which means you're doing a big 3 to 4 hour training block where you do your strength training first and then your mobility afterwards. And you really want to be deloading that strength training once every 2 weeks, because you're doing a lot of volume here. The mobility, you can keep pushing yourself in it, but I would recommend at least deloading like the intensity and the effort that you do on the 3rd week. So that's a 6-week cycle there. We've got 2 weeks of hard work, then 1 week deloading. And in deloading for strength training, you want to deload down to 40% of the volume that you're normally doing. So if you normally do 5 sets of an exercise, you'll now do 2 sets in your deload week. And for the mobility, you could do 2 sets instead of 3, or you could do less reps on all of your 3 sets. And then you will move into the second phase of the pancake routine, so workout number 2.